Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to LEGO Indiana Jones, the original trilogy. And today we start the Temple of Doom. So let's hop into the Shanghai Showdown. Now, one of the things that... There's a lot of different places I suppose Indiana Jones could have gone. In 1935, Shanghai. Interesting. She's not actually singing, she's just making noises. But this was in the time in which none of the characters actually spoke. But it's kind of a shame, as the game locks up, that they didn't stay in Shanghai. There's plenty of Chinese history and artifacts and archaeological things. Some enemies have items you need, throw them sometimes somewhere else to distract them. What? So most of this you have to actually just play as the girl, which we'll figure out what her name is in a second here. Let's see. Willie. And Willie has the scream ability. There's several things, like there could have been any number of real or fake archaeological things in the continent of Africa. Yes, we have the Temple of Doom, but that's really in India, not Africa, so... although I don't know exactly where it's supposed to be set. It seems much more like India. Some of the countries in the Southeast Asia's, like, they might not really have any historical things, but there's certainly... You would find a lot of Buddhas carved all over the Asian continents, and so you could run into a lot of that. And even when Indiana Jones was coming out, I'm sure they'd covered several of this. The United States itself, and well, North America itself, and Central and South America, all have a moderately long history. We could certainly try to find some of those things, although the Native Americans weren't super materialistic, so it's they may actually not have any items of any importance. So the guy wants the diamond for the poison antidote, and they've expanded the movie out from one guy to 4 guys now, so I have to find 4 diamonds. Willie's ability to scream and break glass comes into effect. And see, this is a good scene, it just kind of doesn't mean anything. Very much like the first scene in the Temple of Doom. No, not the Temple of Doom, the Ark of the Covenant scenes. Now, you will notice that Indy can't jump right now. That's not the bug I was running into before of being stuck to the floor unless you turn on vertical sync. That's just because he's poisoned. At least I think that's the case. But I'm looking all over the place for the final diamond. Because I need him to get up there so she can stand on one of these to open this. And you can't climb up there. I'm gonna have to start breaking things a lot. Start breaking all these chairs. Mayan culture, certainly you have the myths of a city of gold, and that may be Aztec, not Mayan, but Central and South America's certainly has a lot of myth and stories, and a lot of it may be true. If only I could just put a chair down. And so you have this suspicious section here. It looks like that would be something, but nope. See, I can throw these guns anywhere I want. I suppose it's worth trying. I guess we can come over here and go to vertical sync, turn it off, and see if that changes anything. Nope, not really. I think by all means that's intentional. I mean, Willie here is clearly making her way through all this. And he just wants a gym. I think maybe I'm supposed to pick up something like this and then get over to this point. But that's not working. See, this is another one of those examples of a game not being benefited by having let's try that again. Like I'm hitting him. Is that thing been sitting there the whole time? Really? Maybe it was in a balloon and I just missed it. Wow. Now this scene in the movie was about how the diamond and the antidote got dropped on the floor, and Indy is crawling on the floor the whole time trying to find the antidote, and Willie is crawling on the floor trying to find the diamond, and they really don't have any connection to each other than that. Willie ends up as part of this group just by coincidence. In fact, there's way too much coincidence in this whole game, in this whole movie. Alright, so you ride this, there's like a seat behind it, and then now when you run into things, they break quite handily. So you've got a little vehicle action going on. Won't break everything, and it's just breaking everything apart into red bricks instead of So only the things that would have given studs in the past, otherwise you're just getting these fake red bricks, which is something I'm glad they didn't continue as an idea in future Lego games, because it's confusing as all as possible. Now, that is not how it happened, clearly. Short Round drove off, and here we get the introduction of Short Round, which I think that also is an admittance that Steven Spielberg had a rethinking of his Indiana Jones series, because the first movie really doesn't feel like it's for kids, where this one, it feels 100% kid friendly. Now, Short Round is not a thuggy character, so he'll just go no. Shake his head. And see, when a game locks up when you do an action, you're getting the exact opposite of being rewarded for doing things. You're being punished, and unfairly at that. You're certainly not going to want to play the game as much. Right. Here we're on a street that is 99% not Lego. There's little collectibles everywhere. Nobody has a book. Nobody has a way to break silver things. There's some silver things that need to be broken. 2. Short Round can go through here because he's a small character, which then gets him up to this point, which then gets him over here, which then gets this engine part. And I guess that's what he was looking for, is we've got to fix the car. Just added things. He tripped over the curb there and dropped the item, not intentionally. The game just glitched. Now we'll play as Willy, because she'll have the ability to jump. But she'll also be the only one that can jump over here. So, and that said Club Obi-Wan. Another reference. So you have to get to this point so you know the character won't move. And then pull it, and then switch. So the white triangle is a clear marker in this game that your other character will stay put. And that's something I think they missed. I'm walking through the element instead of picking it up. So let's see, we'll walk right through. Club Obi-Wan, right there. There might be a few places we can drive before we have to leave this area, or a few places we need to drive. But yeah, this movie is super random. If that was the idea, we still need the wrench, I suppose. If the idea was that Indiana Jones was just always going to end up in places he needed to end up, then they at some point need to explain that, because you start to hit a level of Forrest Gumpishness, which of course the movie Forrest Gump, and I think even the book for Forrest Gump came out after this point, but I'm not sure. But it's unrealistic that Indiana Jones would accidentally end up where he needs to be. And it makes way more sense that he would intentionally end up where he wants to be, because he is an archaeologist and who goes on all these adventures. And I think what would be a better way to depict it is if Indiana Jones started each movie and he was on some archaeological dig and he just finds pots and pans and things that are boring for a movie audience, and then he would be like, for the past year I've been at this dig and all I found is a pot and pan, and then he would maybe get put on a path to the interesting story. That way you could, without showing the boring stuff of archaeology, still tell the player that yes, the boring stuff exists for even Indiana Jones. Man, this car does not break anything. This car is very useless. Alright. I don't even know who I'm playing as. I thought I was playing as Indy. There. And there was no scene from the point where they jumped out of the club to the point where they get on the plane. That is the exact next scene as far as I remember. It may very well be the case that I haven't sat and watched the Temple of Doom in a long time. Inherently, the one thing I will swear by as far as Indiana Jones movies is, once you've seen them once and gotten the gist of them, in fact you can probably just play the video games and never even watch them once, you know the story. The story's not really that complicated, and while you may not be able to quote line for line the movie, that's not something that I think an average fan really needs to do. More and more, I suppose, now that we are approaching movie 9 or 10 in the movie 9 or 10 in the series of Star Wars movies, I have to feel the same way about the original trilogy of Star Wars. Although you can certainly make some different exceptions there. I think most people would say you should watch the original trilogy before you spent energy watching the prequels. Well, I messed that up. But with episode 7, you kind of don't need to watch any of the Star Wars series before then. It becomes, episode 7 is intentionally made to be a starting point for a new generation, and knowing the background stuff will just ever increasingly be less important. Particularly since episode 7, by all accounts, is just a remake of episode 4, maybe done a little bit better with modern technology and better graphics. and CGI. Why would you hide a box right behind that? That's too sneaky for a kid's game. It's too sneaky for a Lego game. Come on, make the jump. Here we have another clear example of boxes that should be made out of Legos and they just aren't. Everything on these shelves should be Lego-fied. In fact, this entire area is massively devoid of Lego pieces. And as a fan who has probably way too much Legos and wants more, like in most Lego people, I couldn't imagine decorating your Legos that in such a fashion that you would keep your Lego models around other models. Like, the closest thing I've ever thought about that was anything even close to that was I thought about getting a model train to work with my Lego train because the Lego trains don't make sound or blow smoke out of the smokestack. But that's the only thing I've ever thought about. I wouldn't want a non-Lego hanger to put my Lego let's see, which button is it? That button. I wouldn't want a non-Lego hanger to put my Lego planes in, although I don't have any Lego planes right now. Except for I have Star Wars planes, I guess. But yeah, this is the exact next scene in the movie. Is them getting on the plane and the door shutting and showing that it was the bad guy's plane that was running it. And then here, incidences of all incidences. They're somewhere in India or Tibet or someplace like that. It's kind of left ambiguous, and it's in a time frame that it's hard to know modern like locations. Another thing to mention here is, where did Willie get her clothes? Short Round wears the same thing that he was wearing when he was first introduced in the movie. Indiana Jones apparently was carrying his clothes, or maybe he wasn't. But they dressed Willie there in a different set of clothes, and there's no reason why Willie would have had a second set of clothes on her at all. So either they stopped at a store, or they're saying she's wearing clothes that they got when they fell out the window through into the car, which I don't believe in the actual movie there was any clothes hanging on clotheslines, and I'm not even sure that's something that even happens in China ever at any point in their history, that they hung clothes on clotheslines up. So they would have had to gone to the store and bought her a whole nother dress, and I don't believe that's the truth at all. Weird. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want to friend or follow me on basically any social media sites, there's a whole bunch of links down below. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.